Hey, it's Saturday morning again, and it's week 6. Coffee made, and I'm back at the mic. And today I'm recording from my studio. The one room in my life that always tells the truth. There's something about a design studio at sunrise. It doesn't perform for you. Trace papers, half finished sketches, colored pencils scattered like someone was mid thought and had to stop. Morning light cuts across like that so precisely that it doesn't flatter, it reveals the space. And that's exactly the energy that I need today. Because today I'm answering a question. Like my question, the one I left you all the last week. So let's dive in right into the episode. This is Architects FM Voice Notes with Kashish. एक सफ़र दिल्ली से दिल तक. But just something that I wish to share with you here, that I got a message from an old student who has been listening this episode and the podcast since the beginning. And she said, I have been sitting with your question all week, ma'am, and I think for the first time I actually know the answer for myself. So thank you. Yeah, this was the message that read like this. But just to understand that someone somewhere sat with this question long enough to find something real in it, that felt like the whole point of beginning this. And that's why even I started. So, yeah, let's begin with the question that I asked you. When did you truly feel significant? I have been giving names and identity to emotions my whole life. It's always been my thing. So, yeah, I really sat with this question with myself too. And the answer really surprised me. Like, not my basketball years, though that chapter was loud and bright and full of adrenaline. Not my first architectural project, even, though that felt really enormous win. Not even when I co founded Velar or when I walked into my first classroom as an educator. But my most significant year, it was 2020. Like, I know that sounds strange because that time the world was shutting down, everything was scared and paused. But I, in that middle of stillness, felt more alive than I had ever in previous years. So, yeah, here's to the beginning of all the three versions of Kashish sitting together and understanding the different versions of their significance. So, the elder Kashish asked the present me, like, why 2020? So, because for the first time, I wasn't rushing, replied the present me. Like the metro wasn't consuming me, the schedule wasn't demanding me. I had time. Real, slow, generous time. With my family, with my grandparents, with myself. And in that time, I took my first independent project, a turnkey renovation, a full apartment. And I took it so personally, not just the architecture and the drawings, but I literally decorated and enhanced every corner and detail that needed my intention. And go on. And somewhere between the presentations and Zoom calls and waking up early to make chai for my grandparents and listening to their wholesome life worthy stories, I also worked on my kiddo's 18th birthday. Made something really beautiful out of something ordinary. And by the end of 2020, the site, the office, and a very special project I personally began parallelly all together. So it was completely like an year of accomplishment feeling. Like not something on paper, but something which is felt in the body. Like, what's the difference? I think I do the whole time I kept thinking, This, like finding happiness in the smallest cures, making structures in a messy site, turning constraint into something beautiful, that's when I feel significant. Not because someone gave me an award, but because a space I created, an apartment, a birthday, a quiet renovation during a pandemic, made someone's life feel more like theirs. Hmm, that is nice, Kashish. And you, the younger enthusiastic champ, when did you feel it? It was on the basketball court. Not when I scored, not when we won, when I looked at my team. And we all just knew, without a single word, exactly where everyone needed to be. That invisible coordination, that moment of perfect, wordless alignment, that felt significant. Interesting. Why interesting, ma'am? Because you are going to build that feeling again many times in spaces, in classrooms, in a podcast, in a community you haven't even imagined yet. The basketball was just the first room where you discovered, and I know how to do this. Like making people feel seen, making a space feel like it belongs to the person living in it. Coordination, structure inside. Like these keep showing up every project, every classroom, and every Saturday morning. Okay, so tell me, Kashish, why did you really start Architects FM? Because somewhere right now someone is lying awake at night or in the morning feeling like their complexity is a problem, like they are too layered, too much, not enough of any one thing. And I want them to find this and feel less alone in it, not because I have it all figured out, though I haven't, but I have this hope with feathers that never stops. A mic, Saturday morning, my ritual, and the belief that vulnerability, real, raw, unapologetic, is the most connective architecture there is existing. Women, men, kids, elders, sorted, unresolved, mid becoming, or just starting. A place where you can be unfiltered, unapologetic, fully, rawly yourself. So there is it. Your layer 3. What? Like, what are you trying to say? You don't just design spaces, Kashish. You design belonging. All right, I want to share something here. Like this week, there's a diagram that I drew, like in my own hand, messy, just random branching and fluid manner. In the center, one word written, architect. And around it, not job titles, not roles, but meanings and experiences. Like alchemist, transforming empty shells into homes where kids can safely learn to build their own. Three-dimensional painter who sweeps strokes of wood, glass, stone. Conjurer of atmosphere and emotion. Magician, turning wishes into reality, thoughts into walls, pixels into places, lines into landscapes we could only dream of before. Manifester of environments where memories will form. Frame builder, scene setter, foundational educator for the next generation. And at the bottom, I underlined twice. By candlelight, in the spotlight, through the darkness, we design. And we do so much more. Love being an architect. And I sat with that diagram for a long time. Because that's not the job description, that's a self portrait. And here's what I've been thinking about Ikigai, the Japanese framework, 4 overlapping circles, one sweet spot in the center. Most people use it as a career tool, a strategy exercise. But I think it's something else. It's, I really believe, is like an annexure. So, in architecture, an annexure is the reference document of a project. You write the specs once, materials, dimensions, intent, make, and everything that gets built after that follows those specifications. You don't rewrite it every morning, you just build from that. Your ikigai is your life's annexure. What you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. 4 layers, when they overlap, that center point, that's not just a career, that's a reason for being. And yes, this week, 3 of those layers got clearer for me. Layer 1, what I love: design, human behavior, the science of how space makes people feel. Layer 2, what I'm good at. I'm a polymath, not IT shaped, M shaped polymath. Multi depths, multi mastery, my science background, sports training, architectural practice, my teaching, they are not scattered, they are a folder system. Everything filed, everything findable, and everything usable. And layer 3, what the world needs from me right now. I don't just design spaces, I design belonging. For people who feel too layered, too complex, I build rooms, physical and metaphorical, where people finally feel like themselves. 3 layers drawn, named, real. And layer 4, what I can be paid for. Oh, the possibilities in that diagram that I just mentioned. All the alliance, design, architecture, education, entrepreneur combination, they are just so enormous. There is so much I can build here, so much the world would actually pay for. But that layer is the full Ikigai sweet spot. And that will be next week's episode for sure. Because right now, just before the 4 circle closes, I need to ask all the 3 of us something very important. Something sharper. Something that sits right at the edge of layer 4. So listen up. This is for you also. How can your passion and your gifts be truly valuable for this world we actually live in? Not the world we wished existed, not the ideal client, not the perfect brief, not the dream commission. This world, chaotic, distracted, overstimulated, hungry for meaning, short on patience, desperately short on spaces, physical and emotional, that made people feel like themselves. How do you become valuable in that world? Okay. I think I make people move differently. The 15-year-old just leaning forward and almost offended by the question. Like on the court, I just don't score. I change how my teammates move. Where they stand, where they believe was possible in the next 10 seconds, that is my gift. I could read the whole floor, not just on my own feet. In a world this is noisy, where everyone is overwhelmed and frozen, maybe valuable looks like that. Someone who can read the whole floor, who helps people find their footing when everything is moving too fast. The world doesn't need another person who's brilliant alone. It needs people who make everyone around them sharper, more coordinated, more alive. That's how I want to be valuable. Like the 45-year-old version of me, who's certainly so ahead of its time, wants to say something. Like the world is full of specialists who know everything about one thing, and it is starving, genuinely starving for the people who can translate between science and design, between data and emotion, between what a space looks like on a plan and what it feels like at 8 p.m. when a family is tired and needs to come home to something that holds them. My passion is human thriving. My gift is that I have stood inside multiple disciplines: biology, sports, architecture, entrepreneurship, education, and I just didn't visit them. I lived in them. That makes me a translator, a bridge, and in a world where problems are never one dimensional, where a school that performs poorly might actually have a terrible acoustics, where a startup that can't retain talent might have a culture that is spatially expressed in its own office. A bridge is not a luxury, it is an infrastructure. That is how I am valuable. And I think while I draw the last circle on this trace paper, I make complexity feel like home. For people who are too layered for to fit in a single lane, for women in architecture who are told to pick creative or technical, global or local, personal or professional, for kids who are too many things at once and haven't been told yet that many things is the gift. I build spaces with walls, with words, with Saturday morning voice notes where people stop apologizing for being complicated. That's not small. In a world that rewards simplicity and punishes nuance, someone who says your complexity is your architecture, not your flaw, that person is doing something the world genuinely needs, and I can genuinely get paid for it. So, yes, to all the women, the girls, and the dreamers out there, I wish to tell you that get this answer, sit with yourself, and see how you can be valuable with your own passions and gift. Three answers, one thought line: movement, translation, belonging. All three of us, different ages, different fears, different certainties, landed at the same place. And the fourth circle, it is almost touching. I'm not going to name it today, not yet, because some things deserve to be said when they are fully sure. And I'm almost enough for today. So, yes, here's what I leave you with. Your passions, your gifts are not separate things waiting to be matched to the world like a job listing. They are already in conversation with the world with every choice that you make, with every space that you inhabit, with every moment that you felt significant. That is layer 4 forming for you, quietly under the surface. Like the foundation being poured before the walls go up. You just haven't seen it yet before from above. Come next Saturday, my dear people, because that's when we finally look at the whole site from above and name what's been building all along. This is Architects FM, एक सफ़र दिल्ली से दिल तक, emotions for all, and your fourth layer is almost touching. Take care, keep layering. Week 6 of 26, and the circles are almost there.